Anthony Joshua versus Kubrat Pulev. How do you think that fight's going to go? And first of all, let me give you a brief breakdown of what I think is going to happen. I think that if Joshua rushes Kubrat Pulev, he can take him out pretty early if he rushes him. You see the way he came out in the 5th round against Vladimir Klitschko. If he does that against Kubrat Pulev, he can take him out. I'm not sure Joshua's going to do that, though. In fact, I don't think he will, because he gassed out after that attack against Vladimir Klitschko, which dropped Klitschko. And that will be in the back of his mind. So I think he's going to go into this fight trying to box a more clean, cautious fight and not expend too much energy. And I do think that that will play into Kubrat Pulev's hands. I think Pulev is going to make it awkward for Joshua for a few rounds until Joshua breaks him down. A lot of people are expecting a blowout. It could happen. As I say, it could happen, but I'm just not sure Joshua's going to attack him like that. I think he's going to try box with him. And I've seen Joshua in the amateurs fight people with a very similar style to Kubrat Pulev. A lot of the Eastern European guys have got that kind of style where they lean back from punches and they're very heavy on the jab. And I know it was a long time ago, but Joshua seemed to struggle trying to find the range against them guys. And that's what Kubrat Pulev is good at. The performance that he put in against Klitschko, Pulev, I don't think that was the best Kubrat Pulev. I think he sold himself short in that fight by fighting recklessly and thinking all he needed to do to win is go out in the 1st round and crack Vladimir Klitschko in the chin. You know, I think he went out with the wrong mindset. The real Kubrat Pulev is a guy who is very patient. He'll stand in the middle of the ring with you trading jabs for 3, 4, 5 rounds. And he don't feel any urgency to actually attack you or do anything else. He'll say, no, let's stand there and trade jabs. I can do this all night long. If you go look at when he fought Alexander Ustinov, that's what he did. If you look at when he fought Tony Thompson, that's what he did. Most of these guys, he just stands and jabs with him all night long. And he's good at that. If you want to play chess with him and swap jabs, Pulev is good at that and he will frustrate you. Yeah? And if Joshua does that with him, which I think he will for a couple rounds, he's going to find Kubrat Pulev a little bit awkward. And he's going to eventually have to turn up the heat to get Kubrat Pulev out of there. That's what I think.
Yeah, I respectfully disagree. I feel like when Anthony Joshua fought Klitschko, like he was in a fight where he knew he was fighting a fighter that was more experienced than himself. Obviously, there was the pressure of him fighting in front of 90,000 fans, and so when he did gas in the 5th round, when it came to him fighting Klitschko, I feel like it was because of the level of intensity and pressure that was on his shoulders. Like that could actually, it doesn't physically drain your stamina, but mentally it can fatigue you in some sense when the occasion comes to you in that sense. I think after he's obviously overcome that and beat Klitschko, he's going to have a level of confidence about himself. So I feel like I think it's similar. I do agree with you in the sense that he's not going to try to blow him out. He may be cautious, but it's not going to be from the perspective of him outboxing him. I think he's gonna box with him, but that's just to carry him for a few rounds, and then I feel like he's just going to take him out.
You think he's going to carry him?
He's going to carry him, yeah.
So you think he's going to go out there with the mindset to deliberately prolong the fight to what? Give the fans value for money?
Absolutely, yeah. I think for a few rounds he's going to do that. Just for a few rounds, and then eventually when he sees a chink in his armor, he's just going to go in for the kill and just destroy him.
See, so basically you're saying the fight is going to play out the same way as me. The only difference is you're saying that Joshua's going to allow Pulev to do okay for a few rounds. And what I'm saying is Joshua's going to, well, it depends how you want to think of it. Yeah, you could think of it as Joshua allowing it, but why is he allowing it? Is he allowing it because he wants to prolong the fight to give the fans some value for money? Or is he allowing it because he don't want to rush in and exert too much energy and blow himself out? And I agree with the whole situation in the Vladimir Klitschko fight. I think I mentioned that in some of the videos I did about the fight, that it was a lot of the nervous energy and the pressure that made Joshua gas out the way that he did. That was part of it. But still, I think that's going to be in about it. Like this fight right here, he wants it to be clinical. In his mind, that's the mindset Joshua's going into this fight with. He don't want it to be a life and death fight. He don't want it to be a, come from behind on the scorecards or getting outboxed. He don't want any of that. He wants to go in there and be clinical and precise and all that kind of thing. And because of that, I don't think he's going to rush him. It's going to be a tactical thing to try and box his way into a fight. And I'm saying if he's boxing his way into the fight, that's going to play into Pulev's hands to a certain extent. Pulev is a limited fighter, but he's good at what he does. That long range, fencing with the jab stuff, bouncing in and out of range, he's good at that. Yeah, he is good at that. Don't underestimate how good he is at just messing around with the range. Even against Vladimir Klitschko, yeah, where after the first round, really, the fight was over because Pulev never really fully regained his legs after that. But even in that fight, he was hurt badly in the first round. It took Vladimir Klitschko the next 5 rounds to get him out of there. And I know Vladimir Klitschko's not as offensive as Anthony Joshua. You know, Joshua's much better coming forward and just all-out attacking than Klitschko is. But Klitschko was boxing with Kubrat Pulev and he was waiting for his opportunities. But while he was boxing, you'll notice one thing. Kubrat Pulev took away Vladimir Klitschko's jab. Vladimir Klitschko's best punch in that fight was a left hook. And he was landing plenty of left hooks and right hands. He was hardly landing any jabs. Pulev is very good with his jab and messing with the range and taking your jab away. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Joshua has problems landing his own jab against Kubrat Pulev.
Well, when I say carry him, I'm not saying like he's going to put himself in a position where he's down on the scorecards after 8 or 9 rounds. I reckon he'll carry him for 3 rounds, 4 rounds, and then that's it. He'll fight. He'll try to. He'll put up the pressure, and eventually he'll find a chink in Pulev's obviously defensive posture, and then he'll just take him out.
Yeah, I think I don't know. It's impossible to know who's going to be right then because we're both basically saying the outcome is going to be the same. It's just that the motivation is different. So
yeah, but you can read a fighter's body language. You can tell when like a fight is a tactical thing because when a fighter is like in a position where they're both fainting and they're both nervous to throw punches, it's like a cobra being spring that they're both trying to go at each other. But like when you can tell when a fighter's carrying a fight, like you can tell when Mayweather was carrying McGregor. So I think in some sense,
I'm not really sure about that, to be honest. Yeah. I think, you know, sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, because you look at a lot of fights that have happened and people say, oh, he carried him. Like, for example, people say that Golovkin carried Danny Jacobs. And I never bought that. But there were a lot of people say, no, he carried him, he let it go the distance because he wanted Canelo to get confident enough to take the fight. So there were people that were absolutely adamant that Golovkin carried Danny Jacobs. So anybody can say this guy carried that, you know, this or that guy. The only way you can really know if somebody carries a fighter is if they go in there and they're bashing the guy up from early. Like, for example, Kovalev carried Jean Pascal in the rematch. He was dominating from early. He could have stepped on the gas and took the guy out, but he was like, no, I want to prolong the beating. But when it's a cagey fight early on, it's difficult to say whether somebody carried the other guy, if it's cagey, you know? Yeah. Because you don't know. It could just be competitive. But if someone's winning from early, but yet they're not going in for the kill, that's a clear sign that they're carrying the guy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying now.